got Olympic athletes who do boxing who haven't done what I've managed to do, and I'm just the kid who worked in Subway from down the road. Born in Liverpool, raised by next gen. I can really be proud of who I am and what I've done. I really can. And didn't touch the world title yet. I got one in Cage Warriors though. Still a world champion, and just proud, man.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Eventual Digressions. Today I'm going to talk about the UFC Fight Night 254 in London, O2 Arena, the Leon Edwards Shawn Brady card, and it just happened on the 23rd of March. And I really do not talk often about fight nights because there's a lot going on, but this was a really strong card, and I felt there were like some really interesting fights on there, and I would like to cover a few of the fights, specifically 4 fights, and it was really interesting watch, to be honest, although I'm really looking forward towards a badass knockout, amongst the main fighters in the cards, because there's one due. So let's start with the women's featherweight bout that was there. The fight between Molly Makan and Alexia Tinara. I believe it was done on short notice in terms of Tinara and Molly Makan. It's very I would say Tinara is really not even up and coming, but a solid fighter, and the fight was quite interesting. As we know that Molly Meatball Makan is from Liverpool, and she's a fan favorite as it was happening in London O2 Arena, and is really good stand-up fighter, really good boxing, quite decent grappling, works out of the same gym as Paddy Pimblett, and she was not surprisingly the underdog by the bookies against Tinara, who has a solid ground game. But I haven't seen much of her, I'll be really honest, not a lot, maybe a couple of fights, but she really surprised me with her stand-up game. Tinara was so good, always moving, moving around, setting up shots, really good counter punches whenever Molly got something in, and kind of like hit and move, always active on the feet. It's refreshing to see, and very good stamina as well. Kind of like switching the stances sometimes, moving around. Molly Makan, she's trying to get her shots out, and in the end obviously it was taken into the ground, and the first round had like too many things. It was a first round loss by Molly, and there was a lot going on. There was around 2 minutes of ground control, I think, by Tinara, where Molly was constantly trying to pass the guard. She was trying to pass the guard, and she almost got out, right? She almost got out from a rear naked choke earlier, and then she had some good elbows as well. There was a small cut above Tinara's eye, but in the end she succumbed to the rear naked choke with 28 seconds or 24 seconds left in the round. Going by the numbers, I think so the submission attempts, Tinara had 2 against Molly's 0, and in the end the ground control time, I think, was almost 3 minutes 24 seconds for Tinara. Very impressive, very impressive. Very good leg work also, a couple of calf kicks which really hurt Molly, I felt, and then 0 clenches. I always love fights with no clenches, and then very efficient with her striking, landing around 52% of Tinara's strikes, and in the end Molly succumbed to a rear naked choke, beautiful rear naked choke. And that's that. I felt the fight was pretty good, although a little bit on the ground. It was really interesting. Very good attempts by Molly as well to pass the guard, but it did not work out for her this time. And really looking forward to big things for Tinara. So moving on to the next fight, like, this was my favorite fight of the card, and it's bound to be. Obviously, it's a fight with Kevin Holland and Gunnar Nelson. And Gunnar Nelson, the Iceman, huge guy from Iceland, really coming back after a 2-year layoff. It has to be one of the toughest fights to come back to against Kevin Holland. He is so entertaining. He's so good with long arms length. Really great in the ground, as well as striking, very innovative. What an exciting fight that was. And he absolutely, I felt, barring a few shots and a few attempts, I mean, he absolutely annihilated Gunnar Nelson. I have not seen many fights where someone dominates the other person on his back all the time, because Gunnar Nelson was kind of taking him down every time, and then on his back, those elbows by Holland was something else. Really bashed up and Nelson. And also, the knockdown that he had, where he was kind of baiting with leg kicks, a lot of leg kicks towards Nelson, and then he was putting in that right hook, which knocked Nelson out. Didn't knock him out, but he got knocked down. I think that took a lot of air out of him. And also in the first round, I think the funny part of Nelson carrying Holland in one arm for like almost 1.5 minutes was stupid, because it really took out a lot from his arms. And he showed a lot of fight and grit, Nelson, but Holland was brilliant. He was brilliant. It was one of the best fights of the cards that I saw tonight. If I can go towards the numbers, I think it's crazy. Holland had 55 out of 89 significant strikes. Nelson only had 15 out of 24. And the sheer amount of strikes, 138 strikes by Holland to Nelson's 30 that landed, is absolutely dominant, and that too on his back most of the time. Although I would say the tricky part of the fight is that in the third round, Nelson kind of did a Hail Mary and got a very, very, very tight armbar. And the way Kevin Holland swiveled and kind of got out of the armbar was, I have not seen many people who has done that. And to do it against Gunnar is absolutely crazy, and it'll give him too much confidence. He put on wood choppers, ground kicks, uses hips and his legs to hold Nelson back on his back when Holland is on his back. Like, amazing defense, amazing techniques, and it's just very entertaining as usual, Holland. And I think he's a vet now. This was his 25th UFC fight. He's got a very short turnaround time. He always fights almost 3 to 4 fights a year. All respect to Kevin Holland. I love him, and I really am hoping that there is way more fights to come from his side, which will be very entertaining. So yeah, and that was that, and it was very interesting to see the way Nelson got dominated. Hopefully he'll come back. I felt bad for him. It's not a very easy fight to come back to after 2 years layoff against Holland, and I think he'll pick it up. He had some good moments here and there. A couple of good strikes, good jabs, and Also in the ground, he got a couple of shots in. The armbar was quite close. So I am hoping that Nelson is going to do better as he gets more practice in, because after 2 year long layoff, to last 3 rounds against Holland is good as well, I would say. And then um the third fight that I wanted to talk about is of Jan Blachowicz against Carlos Ulberg. And what an interesting matchup that was, because Blachowicz is a beast. He's like the Polish. He's got that famous Polish power. He's 42 years old and he's going strong. And he gave a very very close fight to Poatan on his last fight. So I was really looking forward to it. Carlos Ulberg, he's got one of the longest win streaks, and he's 7 fights unbeaten or 8 fights unbeaten when he came into this. I'm pretty sure that the winner of this fight should be challenging Ankalaev for the championship now, for the light heavyweight title. And it is going to be Ulberg, I think, next, and it's going to be an interesting fight. Ulberg is a stand-up fighter, very much a counter puncher and kicker. He kept it. His defense game is really strong, and even for Blahov, his defense game is really strong, good movements. But you could see that at 42, he has lost a lot of his hand speed, and Ulberg was taking full advantage of that. And also, he did not get gassed at all, Ulberg. He was kind of hitting and moving, kicking and moving. He didn't want to get taken down by Blachowicz for obvious reasons. And it was kind of a boring fight, to be honest. I feel that Ulberg has to do much better to get into a winning position against Ankalaev. He did the job against Blahov. The strategy worked really well, but I felt that he played it really safe. It was close fight. It was a unanimous decision. He won a unanimous decision, but it's a really close fight. Blachowicz couldn't let go of his hands, or of his punches the whole fight, because Ulberg was maintaining that distance and hitting and moving and putting in combinations with his hand speed. But I thought it was quite a close fight. Blahov is a veteran, great fighter, and he also got a solid punch in towards the end, which shook Ulberg and kind of tested his chin. He's got a good chin to survive that. He didn't even get wobbly or anything, so that's something good. But I feel like he has to do a lot more against Ankalaev if he gets into the championship fight, right, to kind of do any damage to Ankalaev. So going by the numbers here, he had around 75 total strikes to Blahowicz's 59, which is not bad. I would say it seemed a little less in real time, but Blachowicz got 59 strikes in, which is good. And then it was totally on the feet, both fighters. It's kind of even. It was kind of even, but I felt Ulberg had slightly an edge in terms of striking and kind of the impact it had in the fight. For me, it was the most boring fight though, of the whole night, followed by the second most boring fight I've seen. Man, I feel bad. I feel bad for Leon because he got Shawn Brady, who's a fucking beast. Pardon my language, and I just feel bad that it was on such short notice. He was supposed to fight Jack Madalena, and he's a boxer, and here Shawn Brady is a proper grappler with very good stamina, always active on his feet, really good hand speed and combinations as well on the feet. It was utter dominance. I don't have much to speak about this fight. It was quite boring as well on the ground because it is MMA, it is mixed martial arts, and it's supposed to be different ways of winning, but I feel Leon offered too less on the ground. He was just kind of protecting his positions, moving his hips to escape Shawn, but like there was an average of 3 minutes 20 seconds ground control time in the 4 rounds that were there, or 3 rounds prior to the fourth round where Leon got submitted. And I don't understand this. I think for Shawn Brady, the turning point in his game preparation was that, yeah, he's a good grappler, was always aiming towards Leon Edwards' left hip when he was shooting and taking him down. And it was too easy to take him down, to be honest. He was just getting taken down quite easily. And after that, he was not just trying to submit him or trap him. He was really putting on the pressure in the ground and pound game. That's the key difference. Like Shawn Brady's ground and pound game against Leon was pretty good. Like it was kind of an eye opener, and it's tough deal for Leon to come into this fight after losing to Bilal Muhammad, after landing on his head, which felt like it felt like it could have been a lasting injury. It's not easy to be dropped on your head like that. So to come back to this fight and then to spend so much time on the ground must have felt like torture to him. It must have been desperate and very frustrating for Leon. I really think he needs to get his game going with a win against a stand-up fighter in the next couple of gigs that he might do with the UFC, because this is not the Leon Edwards that we know. Like, he is a brilliant fighter. He's got a lot of tools on his feet. He should get his mind right. I think his mentally is not that confident Leon. He needs to get his mind right. And Shawn Brady, kudos to him. Absolute domination, absolutely a lot of pressure. We all know what did it for Leon in the end, where he lost because he lost his head and tried to shoot for Shawn Brady, and then Shawn Brady just got hold of his head and kind of smashed his head like 3, 4, 5 punches on the side of his head, and then he was down. It's been like 4 rounds of that, and I think Leon kind of mentally was drained. He tried to swivel out as usual. He was trying to change his position to kind of like protect his positions, but he was not doing much in terms of attacking from the back. He was just moving around to protect himself. And then that mounted guillotine choke, one of the really good ones, submissions that we have seen. That was the best part of the fight, and it was utter dominance. Extra credit to Shawn Brady for pulling off some insane tattoos. His back tattoo was just staring at me the whole time. Spectacular tattoos, I must say. Totally worth getting those kind of tattoos if you can pull off fights like this, and especially if you're always on a mounted position where people are just looking at your back all the time. That was UFC Fight Night 254. Overall, I would say the card didn't live up to a lot in terms of what I was expecting in terms of entertainment, but it was really good. Few bouts, and a couple of unexpected, or if not unexpected, new winners in Ulberg and Shawn Brady, and a title challenger in Ulberg as well, I think, for the light heavyweight division against Ankalaev. So this was a solid UFC night, and I'm looking forward to the next card, the Volkanovski card, man. I'm looking forward to the Volkanovski card. I don't want to speak a lot on that. I'll kind of speak about it once it's done, or maybe do a preview. Let me know what you are looking for in terms of the UFC content that I put out. And yes, please hit the like button, subscribe, help my channel grow, spread the word. I really appreciate that. And please get in the comments as well. See you soon.